Welcome back, part two to the Stevens Playbook. I'm Michael.
I'm Matt. Round two.
Yeah, so I say part two because we just filmed this thing. We filmed like 10, 12 minutes, and it was black screen at the end, and it didn't save it. It corrupted. It's not the first time that this happened. It's something that I hope it doesn't happen again. But I was saying, what if this is like a 2 hour podcast that we just filmed, and now we're sitting here staring at a blank screen?
It'd be a 4-hour podcast.
My head would hurt. It would not be a 4 hour podcast.
No, we just have to redo those 2 hours.
It would be 2 hours and 10 minutes because we would just do a 10-minute podcast because I would have given up.
Oh.
Anyways, talked about some things. First off, TikTok was banned. And then it was brought back to life. So if you're looking at this like 2 years from now, it's like a time capsule. Be like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Mhm.
But TikTok was banned, and along with it, CapCut, which threw a wrench in my plans because I was planning on putting out a YouTube video today, but I hadn't been able to edit it because I use CapCut. So now I got to look into Final Cut or DaVinci or something, but those two are much more complex, so it's going to take some time to put
CapCut is
together.
very easy to use
Right.
compared to the others.
There's probably another really easy to use. I keep hearing Filmora, and I know Instagram announced that they were releasing their version of CapCuts, but I looked at it and it was like not till March. It's January, by the way.
Oh, it's fall off.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be able to wait for that. But yeah, it's been a really solid weekend. 4-day weekend for me as far as out of work. So been able to put some thought into what we're working on here. We got to sit down with the developer, our team member number 3, and talk about what's going on with the app. So that was very useful, and also another kind of smack in the face of like, oh yeah, here's what's next.
Yep.
Talk about that one.
Sure. Over the past few podcasts, we've been talking about, hey, we've been working on the wireframe. We're getting so close. Well, we got done with it, and it looked pretty good. But then we realized that we just got done with the low wireframe, and that there's a high wireframe next. And so the low wireframe is just basically a very rough draft of like the outline of, like, if you wanted to say you wanted to picture an area, you put a big square and with a little X that says this is where you insert a picture. And then the high wireframe is more like the actual detail of the picture that you want in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so our work just went from very simple and easy, just kind of time consuming, to a lot more complex and a lot more time consuming. But we have the basic rough draft now, so that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's a lot of progress. And
It is.
yeah, so the week has been good. Today went to the gym and spent a lot of time thinking about logos and icons because I thought yesterday that I would be able to just put one together, be like, oh, easy, let's use this name. Here's the icon, or like pull one together somehow, write it, draw it up, and turn it into one. But there's a lot more that goes into it, especially once you start sitting down and looking at what's already out there in terms of names and icons that you don't want to spark legal issues because of similarity.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to, one, take the thought that's in your head and turn it into a app name, and then two, look out to see what's there. So if it's already a thing, then obviously that one's not going to work. If it's too closely resembles something that's already out there, that's not going to work. If it's too simple and there's so many things that can be compared to it, because it's like something we've thought about real quickly off the bat was like aim, because we have all in mentality, we got the arrow. Aim is just, it makes sense. And then it's like, what are you aiming for in this fitness app? It tells you kind of like, how are you tracking your progress? It all lines up. But when you think about it, it's so basic that if you were to look at what's trademarked already, there's going to be like 50,000 aims for one. And it's what we heard. Our legal advice was that it is probably not going to get accepted. And then what else was included in that?
Even if it gets accepted, it can be widely used as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we couldn't just monopolize the name.
Right. Which makes me wonder how Elon Musk trademarked X, but that's outside of my concern, I guess.
Questions to think about.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's a lot more thought that's going to be going into the name and logo for the app that we got coming out. So just know that once it does hit, it wasn't a one-day thought. It was a progress, couple days, maybe weeks, hopefully not longer than that, of thinking and putting together ideas to come out with something that is solid. But yeah, other than that, listen to my daily podcast. And I was thinking when I was doing that, or during the last podcast that we just filmed right before this, that instead of listening to some podcasts, I need to sit and let silence enter. Maybe if I was listening to silence, I'd have thought of a really good app name and logo idea. But I was listening to a podcast instead. Although I did get some good points from it. It was from Nick Bear, episode number 104. The podcast was titled 6 Things to Stop Doing in 2025. So it's one thing, and I only wrote two notes from it, but one thing he said was stop seeking to fill your calendar. Be protective of your time. So a lot of us easily get into the cycle of just how can I be busy when busy is not a good thing. The objective is to free up your time so that you can fill it with more productive tasks. And a productive task may be just listening to silence so you could think, or freeing up your calendar so that you can enable the creativity to flow. Because every time you're doing a task, and when I say a task, I mean like check the box, get something done, your mind is occupied, which means you can't open it up to new ideas to flow and be creative and work out solutions to issues. So you want to intentionally have some time to think. But yeah, this has been my focus for all of 2025 so far, is what's on my calendar that doesn't need to be, what am I doing that, and like what priority does it support? So what am I doing? What priority does it support? If it doesn't support one of those priorities, it's probably not worth doing. So yeah, be protective of your time. Be the defender of it. Another thing, second thing I wrote down was a chip on your shoulder can provide an edge, but not purpose. So if you are about to run a race or about to do a heavy lift or just need quick motivation, chip on your shoulder, that'd be helpful. Listening to what are other people thinking, which you want to avoid, but hearing other people and being like, oh, I got to prove you wrong, that can help you in the moment, but it's not going to provide purpose. You need to have something, another reason for doing things, something for yourself. So, for example, prove yourself right instead of trying to prove other people wrong. So yeah, that's another one. Just really don't even listen to what other people are saying. People are saying stuff, but they really don't think about you or care enough. They're just saying stuff. Anything to add?
Well, yeah, no one cares more about you than you do. And no one's going to be there. At the very end of the day, there's going to be very few people in your life that actually stick with you through all the rough times. So, proving yourself right over others,
Yeah.
that's a good thing to say.
Yeah. And if I have to record this thing one more time because the video doesn't want to save, then there'll be problems, and I'll be proving somebody right.
We'll just it'll be a 5-minute video, or not even that. It'll be a 1-minute video.
It'll be a see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, sound good. See you tomorrow, anyways.